Now it's very tempting, having opened Microsoft Project, to start immediately putting in tasks, but there's a couple of fundamental things we need to do. Step 1 in my 18 steps is the project information needs to be set up, and that is, when does this project plan to start or plan to finish? For this, I'm going to choose the Project tab in the ribbon, and from here I'm going to go into the button Project Information, which you'll find in the Properties group. If I click on Project Information, I'm able to say, is my project start date driven, and therefore I can enter a start date, but I can't enter a finish date because that depends on how many tasks I've got to do and how long they'll take. Or I can say that my project is finish date driven, which means I can say when I'm going to finish, but I can't say when I'm going to start because again that depends on how many tasks I've got and how long they're going to take, and it possibly should tell you should have started 6 months ago. So typically we say that the project is start date driven. Now I don't want to say just what date I start, I also want to say what time I start, and I don't have that ability looking at what I have in front of me here. So I'm going to cancel, and I'm just going to make a change. I'm going to go into File, and I'm going to Options, and I want to change the date format. Now when you go into File and Options, here's your date format here, and there's a variety of date formats. At the moment I have the most concise or the shortest date format possible. I want a short date, but I want to include the time as well, so I'm going to choose this option here just above the short date, and then I'll click OK. If I then return to Project and Project Information, not only can I say what date I want to start, but I can also say what time I want it to start. If I hadn't made that change and said that I wanted to start on Monday, then I wouldn't have got the ability to say what time I want to start, and it would have thought that I wanted to start at 8. And if I actually wanted to start sooner than 8, I wouldn't have that option to change it, but now I do. So I'd like to start a week from today, which will actually for me be the 5th of June. I'd like to start at 7, so I'm going to change the 8 to a 7. Keep the format that's there. Don't wipe it out completely. Just make changes to what's already there. So I'm starting on Monday the 5th of June at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm start date driven. I'm going to use a standard calendar. So I don't want to use a 24-hour calendar or a night shift calendar. These are options you can see available to you. I'm just going to stick with standard. With standard basically means that we have certain days off and certain hours off, and we'll customize those as well. So we're starting on the 5th of June at 7 AM with a standard calendar. Here is today's date. For me, it's the 29th of May, and I'm going to set the time up that it's actually not 8 o'clock, it's actually 8:39. And the status date we don't worry about until we start tracking the progress of the project and we start to become curious about the status of the project. So all you're concerned about is setting the project start date, what date and time you're going to start, what is the current date and time, we're using the standard calendar, and OK. And that's the project information set up. You may see a little shift in your Gantt so that you can clearly see the 5th of June. I can already clearly see it. And so this is the date that I intend to start my project.